Okay, another millionth UI update. Here's the current status of everything. So now we have a checkbox that has visual feedback, both when you hover and leave, but also when you enter it on focus, which is not normally supported by checkboxes. And then you can press to engage this slider, and then it'll automatically update text, which will set the actual max player value. But I can also click in here and do 99, whatever, shit like this. So like that. And this is capped, so you can't go any higher than that. Also can't go any lower. So negative 11. I probably need to handle other characters. Oh wait. Yeah, I do. Because I don't know what that value is going to be. I don't know if it just pulls and then ignores the next characters, but that's kind of it. That's all I did. I mean, it's pretty easy to do that. Now I'm pretty proficient in custom buttons. So basically just created a custom widget. I added what we need, or sorry, not this, the checkbox. Oh, of course I closed it. So I took a blank widget, put a little custom checkbox in here, gave it a border, because the border is where the outline is going to be. Because I can't just set whether this is being hovered or not. I can't set whether it's hovered. So that's an automatic thing that happens when you just have checkboxes and you hover over them. That's automatically handled and you can't customize that. So we added a border, and then I just created an animation and I keyframed. Now I know that there are keyframes in animations. That's what I did for both of these, for this and for the selector. Actually, no. Yes, yeah. And so what we do is we just keyframe the color of the border to be blank, or rather the opacity to be 0, and then I just increase it. I just did it red because it's easy to see, high enough contrast, so cool. And then all we do is we took that animation, and it's automatically saved as an asset, so we play it forward and play it backward. When do we play it forward? One, whenever we focus it, and the best event to do that is this one, and also when we hover over it, because this is now a regular widget, which means it's a widget. Which means if I hover over it, nothing happens, because it's not just a checkbox, it's a widget. And so instead, I have to say whenever I hover over the widget itself, because I'm hovering over a widget that holds a checkbox, which means hovering over the checkbox, that will never occur. So I have to instead do it when I hover over the widget. So that's what we do. So we just play this animation whenever we're hovering to regain that hovering functionality. And then same thing when we lose focus, or leave the mouse, so you unhover it. And then, in order for whatever is using this checkbox to use its state, because this widget is not a checkbox, it is a widget that contains a checkbox, whenever the checkbox's state is changed, which I can get, we will save the state in this checkbox, and then we will create a dispatcher that will get called. So if I put this widget now within another widget, I can then go to it. In this case, the checkbox is used to enable or disable LAN. So whether or not you want to search for your local area network, I'm not sure if that means that your buddies don't have to be on Steam or that you don't have to be online. I'm not super sure if I even need this, but it's here because it was in the tutorial I followed in the very beginning, and I'm keeping it for now, but we'll see. I'm just learning shit at this point. I'm just trying to do everything. So that event dispatcher I can then call by accessing the widget itself. This is a widget. This is not a checkbox. It is a widget that contains a checkbox, but I can access when the checkbox state changes from here by having the widget tell this widget when its state is changed. And in this case, I just call it state changed, but it's that same, I forget, it defaults all the way over here. Whenever this state changes, it tells the widget containing it that its state changed, because it's calling the dispatcher to tell it now. So we then use that to update our value just like normal. Instead of just doing a regular checkbox and it directly setting it, it is we use the widget and we click it. That works, and that will allow us to, the hover stuff will not trigger, but clicking will update the checkbox. And so when we click it, notice I didn't have to override clicking functionality. I didn't have to add in like on mouse down and up and shit. I didn't have to do that. So that still works, but it's not automatically propagated down to this widget that contains it. We need to explicitly add in another event and call that event when this checkbox changes. So when this event is triggered, we say trigger the whole widget, which makes this whole widget seem like a checkbox just like normal. So whenever we click it in here, that tells this event dispatcher to trigger, which then, or to execute, which then executes the event in the widget that it is included in. And so now it works. So we can go in here. I need to fix the navigation because I wish I could choose specifically which of these options I want to go for. Do I go like, I mean, I guess you could get around this by just having vertical only widgets, and maybe that's the strategy. And I can totally do that. And I might just do that. It's easy. I'm probably just gonna do that, honestly. It'll just be like category and then option, or I add checkboxes to the sides. It's such a pain, checkboxes to each. I'd rather just have separate buttons. It's easier. That way you can see all the options too, instead of having to click this caret to eventually, or this greater than sign to eventually see the final result. Like, is epic the highest quality? You have to press it again to see if there's still another, instead of just seeing it from the get-go. I prefer that. So, because right now it skips LAN. So if I go up one way, it skips LAN, but if I go back down, it goes to LAN and then goes down to forest because forest is right below it. So this is fine, but we don't immediately go to forest. We go to maze. So it's just not automatically intuitive. And you also can't go up on controller. I'm using a controller for all this. You can't go up and adjust the players there. So this, I'll update the default text there. Oh, wait, what the fuck am I doing? The default text there will instead be something players. Will be, or I'll just say, or this, that. Does that make sense? Maybe. Sick. All right, that works. Cool. So yeah, there's a custom checkbox that works now, and then there's this custom guy. So whenever, basically to avoid, well, I guess there's not really, yeah, there would be a loop. So hold. So the one thing is I can update the players by dragging the slider itself, and that will go and directly update the max players. And it will also update the text in this box, which will not trigger this event because it wasn't typed. It was set, which is different. But I also need to be able to set to update the max players here. Well, I could just call update max players here, but then the slider doesn't do it. So how do I update the slider and the max players? Oh, well, if I just update the value of the slider, that does trigger this event, which updates the players. So it's pretty easy peasy. We get a float. We simply convert it to text by going to an integer, which truncates it because we're losing the floating point of the floating point value. Clamp it. I'll add some extra stuff in here to remove non-numbers or something, or maybe that's just a thing in the editable text. I actually don't even know, like what type of input it can have. Is read only, is password. Nope. Okay. Surprised. I figure it would have maybe even had something, but it doesn't matter. So I'll add like a little checker so that if it's not a number, or if it contains text that's also not a number, then just ignore it, or something like that. So yeah, these are fine. Okay, that's it. Just basically added a custom checkbox widget. Excuse me, and then I animated this guy the same way. So there's an animation here, or oh, this is not an animation, but this is an animation where we key both of these guys. Oh, it's similar. Yeah, it is similar to the button. It's just that the button is handled in its own, or the checkbox is handled in its own widget. whereas the slider's done here. So we just say, okay, key 0 or whatever, key 0, frame 1 basically. We say, okay, color is this, and by default when we're not in the animation, it is that. So when we start, nothing, but 0.05 seconds later or 20th of a second later, we say, okay, now it's red. That way it's updated whenever you're using it. When exactly is it used? Well, we can just play that animation and specify that because sliders are cool and sliders have built-in functionality when your mouse starts clicking on it and when it lets go and when the controller captures and doesn't. Controller capture is rare. I haven't seen it for anything else in widgets. So easy peasy. When the mouse capture begins, show that we're using it. Same thing as controller and the opposite the other way. That's it, and the rest is all shit that I already had, functionality that already existed, so this is good for now. Eventually I'm going to have to fix the order. It's basically like reading order for PDFs and shit. I have to deal with some of that bullshit at work. But I got to figure out how to order this stuff properly. I'll probably just make things vertical. If it's all vertical, then it's easy peasy. I feel like you normally don't have to, like, I mean, granted, I don't actually remember because I'm on mouse, so I can do whatever the hell I want on mouse. But when you have to physically go up, down, left, or right, and those are your only options, then there's no diagonally. I can't go from here to here specifically. I have to go up and then over, which is kind of annoying. So I'll just do vertical. I guess that's how it is. Like I'm thinking of Call of Duty right now. If you're in the graphics window or something, it's boom, then boom, then boom, then boom. And I guess you could have drop downs. Is that even a thing? Multiple choice? No, I guess not. But whatever, it's fine. This is one option. So I guess that would be a cool option. But then the custom widget stuff might be annoying. So this is probably the easiest way, honestly, compared to a drop down. So okie doke. That's it. Little custom widget action, yo. Getting better slowly.